looking for, what we're, where is it we want to get, what do we want to accomplish? What is our end goal, our, objective? And not something that's too long or too complicated. I like demilitarization, borders, and migration equity, but it's a lot of words. And I think border and migration justice does it. So that's it for me. Shoot. Margot, Diane's hand is up.
Okay, Diane, I recognize you.
Okay, thank you. So I love simplicity, and I like the fact that we have all these different areas to ponder and work on. But I think the previous committee, and it was not a subcommittee, it was a committee, right? And they called it self-immigration. And so I actually would I think that's the easiest. And we've been calling ourselves kind of immigration all along. But wasn't the previous committee called just immigration?
George Stack.
George, you're recognized.
I may not have the best information about the prior committee, Diane, but I do know that just using the term immigration brings it with it assumptions people have, many of them negative. And it's about being able to cross borders. And for most people, it's about migration. That's why I think migration equity or migration justice are both more appropriate. That's all.
Tina for the stack.
Who, Tina? You're
Yes.
recognized.
Yep. To answer your question, Diane, I don't remember if it was a committee or a subcommittee. I still thought it was a subcommittee then, but it was, my understanding is the previous iteration was called Border and Migration Justice, which is why that's what we started with. Or border and immigration, or immigration and border. Nope. It was border and demilitarization. I'm sorry. I'm getting it confused, but it was not simply immigration. It did have something about demilitarization in it. And I'm forgetting exactly what it was, but so it must have been border and demilitarization. That's it.
I also like border and migration justice. It says it all simply.
Let's see. Oh, may I? I'm trying to think how do I calculate this, probably to temporarily take the floor. I'm just gonna, I can see an argument. I sort of like border and migration equity. How about the equity versus justice in this context? Is there a distinction there? Anyone sees reasons for preferring one or the other? I'll just throw out that question. I'll step down now.
Sam Stack.
Okay, Samantha, you're
Okay,
recognized.
so thanks. I don't know that equity would fit, because who are we emulating? Is there a perfect system? No. So I believe we're working towards a better system of justice, not just equity. There's no equity. Nobody is being treated fairly.
Tina, do you have a preference?
So my preference is to not have a really full mouthful, which even border and migration justice seems to me. But I do think that it could be easy to abbreviate that with, BMJ or, something like that. I tend to lean toward what Samantha was saying in terms of equity. Equity means a lot of things, none of which we have right now. And I do like using the word migration instead of the word immigration. I want to include the themes of border demilitarization, but I think that we don't have to have that big mouthful. It gets really kludgy. I'd like to just keep it at border and migration justice and know that we're going to include that when it comes to it. That would be my so right now, as a note taker, we have 3 for border and migration justice, 1 for border and migration equity, and 1 for immigration justice. 3, 4, 5, which is 5 of us. I'm missing someone. That would be Silfred.
And I don't have like a strong yeah.
That's okay. You don't have to. May I make a motion that we move to accept border and migration justice, at least temporarily, and if we need to change it, we will bring it back to the floor.
Second, I'll call for anyone who feels that who'd like to stand aside from that, or who feels they cannot join in consensus on this. Anyone who feels that? Because otherwise, I think we can adopt border and migration justice by consensus. So if anyone disagrees with it, let's allow about 10 seconds. You can raise your hand or speak up, or you can signal your dissent in any way. And otherwise, we'll adopt it by consensus. As facilitator, I don't hear any dissent. Does anyone else hear any dissent? If not, I think we've adopted border and migration justice by consensus.
Woohoo! Consensus.
Nice. Note taker will so make the note.
And our next item up on the agenda is a bilingual brochure. And I have comments for a minute, but since I'm the facilitator, I'll defer my comments to everyone else has had an opportunity to speak.
I'm not sure that the people who want to talk about that one are on this call right now. Perhaps we can move it down till later.
I can
Yes,
share
we
that.
can defer
Oh,
to the next meeting.
I can share that when I talked to Teresa earlier, she felt that Lenny and Adrian have probably completed it at this point. But neither of them, they're not available right now on the Zoom. So we just have to follow up with them.
So noted. Perhaps.
So I guess since I'm sorry, you should go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I can ask them to share it via email, but go ahead, Margot.
Okay, so if we're going to defer this item because the appropriate people are not present, the next thing is subcommittee goals, action oriented. That's item 6 on the agenda.
So I put something on that. I would like to ask, I obviously made a big goof up 2 weeks ago by not paying attention to my calendar, and I would like some help to just help me stay on task with the getting this meeting on the calendar and doing whatever else other tasks that need to happen. So I'm asking for a helper. It may just be as simple as reminding me a week ahead of time, or it might
Yes,
be,
I volunteer to help you out, Tina.
yes,
I volunteer to help you out on that. We can
Okay.
stay in touch.
sounds good. Thank you.
And do you have my telephone number?
I do not.
Well, I'll be sure to communicate that to you.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
And I think that the next thing was just for us to take a look at the blurb that Samantha submitted and probably just so that we all know what this is to be submitted for the website.
Can you put it on the screen?
Sure, yes, I can share a screen. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Okay. Can we see okay? I can make it bigger. Let me make it bigger, sorry. How about- How's that? Can we see it?
I can see.
Diane Stack.
George Stack.
Diane,
Okay, so since we just called ourselves BDM, was that right? Or Borders and
BMJ.
BMJ,
Mhm.
Borders and Migration Justice, BMJ. Okay. Because, okay, well, I thought it was migration, I think of as not being across borders, it's just leaving your home, right?
Actually, migration can include within borders and across borders.
Right. So it's not just political borders, is what I'm saying.
George Stack.
George, you're next. Please go ahead.
I'm trying to follow you, Diane. You may need to help me, but I don't imagine if I am migrating from North Carolina to Illinois, I need the protection of policies that are not inhumane and unfair. So I do think it is about militarized and political borders because that's where the conflict exists at the moment in this system. But I could be missing something.
Well, what about all the camps and all that? Don't we want them to have freedom, education and things like that? And they're often in the same country. And that's migration to me. So that's what I was thinking about. It's not across political borders.
Well, that would be border justice, right? The camps are temporary holding places, right? So that
They're
would have to
temporary
do,
holding places within the same political boundary. Uh-huh.
and they're trying to cross, right? So it has to do with border justice.
They're trying to cross what? No,
But-
they're just living there until they can find a place, till they can go back to their home often, or back to find, until they can find a place, not necessarily always seeking another country to cross into another country. That was my point.
It also may be worth remembering, and this may or may not apply here, but that political borders are not only geographic or on a map. you know, they could be ideology, they could be religion. Political isn't just a line on a map. That's all I'm saying.
True.
Welcome, Joan.
Welcome, Joan. Joan, but we're now doing, I guess I'm facilitator for the meeting right now. And what we're doing is we're reviewing a statement of our action. We're sort of looking at it closely, and George was just commenting on it.
Margot, it's hard to hear you again. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard.
And then when we turn up the
Can you hear
volume,
me now?
then when we
Yes,
turn up
that's
the
better.
volume, the rest of us sound like we're yelling.
George, that
And I was talking about how I was sorry to be late and I was muted. And anyway, I got overwhelmed here at home with 3 or 4 things happening. Sorry, no big problems, but
Okay, well, welcome, Joan.
thank you.
And I should just,
And I'll look forward to the recording. Thank you.
and just to
George, that-
explain, we're just discussing a proposed statement of what actions the committee is committed to, and I think George was, and so other people, Tina and George, I guess maybe were critiquing it. And I think it's displayed in by, I guess it's by screen sharing or chat.
I have it's for the same thing that was sent to us in the email, right? So
Mhm.
yeah. The blurb for the website,
Yes.
that looks like it.
Okay, so I got on the stack to say a couple of things. One, editing by committee is a disaster. We cannot do that. I don't want to participate or feed into that, although I have heard the critiques that we shared. So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if we just ended with people seeking freedom and opportunity. It's not quite as strong, but it doesn't suck. And other than that, I don't see it as problematic. I don't see anything really wrong with it. And if we are going to try to edit by committee, I would flag something that's glaringly wrong as opposed to something that we might want to tweak, because that won't work. I don't see anything glaringly wrong.
I agree with you. I agree with you, George.
I did have a question when I read through it, that it doesn't seem to be clearly applying to the United States, but rather a general international, around the world kind of possibility that it could be referring to. Does that make a difference?
Absolutely. I mean, we do care about globally, yes.
Yes, but my question is whether the WELF US committee is actively involved in terms of other countries and their immigration situations.
Dang, Joan, we just got a name today.
We've discussed migration from Ukraine, Haiti, Mexico,
Yes.
Central America, South America. Yes.
So this committee that I'm a member of wants to look at anything around the world and so on. I'm just not clear partly whether, sort of the international WILF protocols on that maybe is what I've vaguely heard about, something about that. So we can sort that out and figure it out. As if I have a question but others don't, then I will try to get an answer to my question.
When I write a mission, I kind of think globally. I wasn't thinking of confining it in any way. It's just a simple mission statement.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll see if I can find out about it. About what I'm vaguely remember hearing about is something that we need to take into consideration or not, or what. I heard about it, I guess, in the Middle East Committee or somewhere else, or maybe in regard to Lebanon. Anyway, I'll see
Well,
what I can find out.
Joan, I'm just wondering what you heard about in the Middle East, because they totally deal with someplace outside the United States, and so does the Cuba and Bolivarian Alliance.
Right, but they are careful. They every once in a while there'll be a mention of, we're only talking about the United States in relation to Israel. We have to be careful about how we, word this or something. And that, I'm sorry, I'm not very clear, and that's why I say I'll try to find out what it is what the parameters are, or whatever you want to call it, that have been
George
agreed
Stagg.
on. Sorry.
Apologies, Joan. I wasn't trying to shut you down, but I was remembering some of what you may be referring to as the Middle East Committee, and it was about not offending people if we said something that was too strongly critical of Israel, is what I'm remembering from the disarm. But I don't think we should be that concerned about what this committee or subcommittee might do in terms of other people in places other than the US at this point. I don't think we should restrict ourselves, and I don't think we should be limited until someone says, here's a limit. And then we can say, oh, really? Let's talk about that limit if we need to do that. I also want to encourage us to move on, and I want to own my compulsive need to edit and beg Tina to take this down off the screen, because I really now want to add safety to freedom.
Tina for the stack.
Tina, and then Samantha, I guess.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry, I kept talking. I'm sorry. Well, maybe you weren't supposed to hear what I said anyway.
Okay,
So.
no, George, you had a chance to finish. I want to be sure that you're getting a fair chance to finish.
Well, I don't know. I was saying that, and thank you, Tina, for taking. Because while it was up, I was feeling the compulsive need to add safety to that string at the end of the sentence.
Mhm.
Because many people flee their country because they don't want to die. They want to be killed. And they're seeking not just freedom and opportunity. They don't want to just be another capitalist. They're trying to stay alive and keep their families alive. But I'll let it go because we don't want to do over editing, and we can move on.
George, I would like to second that proposed amendment to add safety, because it's the reality, and the U.S. foreign policy in Central America created set the stage for a lot of the dangers that people are now fleeing for their lives. I support that amendment. I'm sorry.
Yes, I think it's, yeah.
Oh, Samantha, did I see your hand?
No, I absolutely support that.
Good. Okay.
Diane was briefly unmuted, but I don't know what she was saying, Margot.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just agreeing that I think that's so true. They just want to be able to live. Yeah, security is important.
Tina for the stack.
Tina, please go ahead.
I would like to add something, and not during the meeting, about the UN Declaration of Human Rights includes the right to move from one place to another about safety. But Samantha, if it's okay with you, I'll work on it off the meeting and send it back to you, or send it to the entire committee and see how that looks, so we can avoid George's very realistic advice not to edit by committee.
Absolutely.
Okay, sounds good. And my timer was a little off, but it is sorry, working now. So uh, we are at 5:40. And I think that the only other thing I did want to ask, if people were available, is to ask if people had a chance to look at the Title 42 call to action. Because, and specifically say that I write a lot of calls to actions to my branch and they don't have to look very pretty. And so I didn't know how, if we do, expand this. I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at it. Number one, if you did or didn't, do you think, what might we need to add to it to take it to, like, put it in an e-news or something to advocate for, to encourage all of our members to advocate for Title 42 to be ended?
I think it would
Um,
be great. I'm sorry, I didn't say stack, but I think that would be something definitive from this subcommittee.
Yes, I very much like the presentation that you have in the minutes or in the agenda.
Okay.
Samantha Stark.
Yes.
I see these a lot.
Samantha, you recognize.
Tina, I see these kind of scripts a lot, and I do make these phone calls a couple of times a week usually. I think it was great. It's right on point. Absolutely. They'll take your zip code and they'll note it and they'll tell your representative, and these calls do make a difference.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
And so we are okay sending this on and asking Wilf National to send it in an e-news. Okay, thanks.
Oh, I did hear that, this is Joan, I did hear that the e-news, the June e-news will be out fairly soon. And the July one will also probably be in the middle of the month instead of at the beginning of the month, since it would be rather soon. And they don't usually do, somebody told me they don't usually do an August e-news.
Okay.
But this isn't going to go out of date very soon, unfortunately, probably. Or if it does, great.
Yeah. Okay, Margot.
Yes.
Most people probably saw that Sofred signed off. She put a note in the chat that she signed off. So
Oh, yes. Let's see where we are on the agenda. Let's see, we have wrap up now. 7 is who can report to AHR committee. Then 8 is calls to action. Is there feedback? And then 9 is the next meeting date and drawing up an agenda for the next meeting, if I'm correct. So we're doing 7, 8, and 9. We have left.
yes, and I jumped the gun. The call to action feedback, we just did it. I got confused. So the call to action is done. So we just need 7 and 9 as incorrectly.
Who the 7, right. Thank you for guiding me. 7 is who can report to AHR committee. I guess that'd be the umbrella committee.
You know, logically, that's you, Tina, since you took the notes.
Okay. I will put the next meeting on my calendar.
When is the next meeting, Joanne? Oh,
Yes,
maybe
that's
she
the last item. Good.
Yeah.
No, the
No, not-
AHR meeting. When's the next?
Yes.
When is the
that's what I
next
wanted.
Oh,
umbrella committee meeting, Joan?
oh, it hasn't been set. And,
Okay.
it'll probably be either very late in June or early in July, but I don't know.
Okay, thanks.
And I don't
I'll
know.
look for that. Tina will do that.
So you want to put the next general AHR meeting in the notice about the next meeting of the Immigration Committee meeting? Excuse me, the. Border
Yes,
and
No, we just
Justice
sorted
meeting?
who's gonna report at the
Oh, who's
AHR
gonna
meeting
report
on,
at it? Now I
this meeting,
remember,
yes.
sorry, yeah.
and that's Tina.
Somehow I didn't get that in when I made out this thing. Okay, I'm sorry. Beg your
Yep.
pardon. Okay, so reporting. Great. And did somebody volunteer?
Tina will volunteer. So that's
Oh.
why I was asking. I'll
I
try
thought
to,
you were trying to get somebody else to do
Yeah.
it.
no, I was just trying to get the date so I can put it in my calendar without forgetting, but that's all right.
All right.
I'll look for your email. So, we have been, in terms of our next meeting, Margot, sorry, just to jump, we're moving from, we had been meeting on Fridays a lot and we moved to Tuesday. And, we're focused on not meeting too early so that those, which of course is hard to do, but so I want to honor those people that are here and can say when they want to be here, but I'll also check in with Lenny and Adrian to see if there is a good time for them, but so time to meet.
Does that mean we're not gonna set a time now?
I would like to get feedback of what's best for the people here and then, but I will also take into consideration if that time is, the time that we pick is not good for Lenny and or Adrian, that we could be flexible. But I don't know, maybe they're just too busy overall. I don't know.
I think Adrian might be the one who has a work schedule that might conflict as opposed to George's flexible work schedule sometimes if there's not a meeting or whatever.
I do have a fairly flexible work schedule.
Is 6 p.m. doable for this meeting on a Tuesday or not really?
Six PM is okay with me. How about you guys, Joan and Margot, 3 PM y'all can handle?
Yes,
Yes,
So I am working around my branch meeting is alternating between evening and afternoon on Tuesday. So I'll make sure it's not on the same day. And Samantha, you
She did a thumbs up for 6
Oh.
PM.
mid-June, 12th, 19th, 5th, 12th, 19th, 26th. That's our Tuesdays in July. I mean, not June.
July. Wait a minute.
and you're skipping the ones that would be during the International Congress, right?
I don't have the International Congress dates on my calendar yet. Joan, you want to remind me when those are?
If I could, I would.
Okay. I have to, yeah, so
Anybody
not
else?
during international. Okay.
Anybody?
I'll look that up. It might be mid-month, might be 12th, huh?
No, it's after the 20th,
After the 20th.
Right.
Okay. All right.
George,
because I've got it on my calendar around the 20th, but I've got the word prep. So
Oh.
I think, I don't know what prep I have to do. I'll be putting kind of crazy stuff on my calendar.
Okay. Good for you. That helps.
I don't know.
All right, so I'll say tentatively, first working date would be 6 PM on the 12th, and I will reach out by email to those people who are not on the call and see what we can do.
Great.
Back to you, Margot.
Okay, I think we finished the full agenda, if I'm correct, because I think that the setting, the tentative setting of our meeting was the last item. And I know that I owe you an email, George, and I owe you one, Tina, with my telephone number. And we'll keep in touch. We'll keep in touch, Tina. I can offer you whatever assistance or reminders that you need between now and then. And I'd like to thank everyone. I think we've had a great meeting. It's been a great pleasure to facilitate.
Thanks for doing that, Margot.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right, see some of y'all Friday night. And
Cool.
blessings if I miss you in DC.